Hi, my name's Sebastian Goldspink and welcome to COMA in Darlinghurst. I'm the curator of this exhibition these days, which is currently on at COMA, and it's a show that I'm super proud of. It's broadly a painting show, but a show that really seeks to kind of, I guess, look at the day-to-day of painting. One of the interesting things about having spent time working with painters and talking to painters is that when you talk to them, you get a sense that that painting is essentially a great game. It's a game that no one ultimately ever wins. Painters will talk about, waking up and going to their studio and starting to paint and it being like they've never painted before. It's this constant kind of struggle. And there was something in that I really wanted to sort of tease out. If you ask painters and if you ask artists in general, what their favorite works are or what work means something to them, they'll often pick works that are not necessarily their biggest or their most well-known works. They're works that represent often some kind of transitional kind of point, some kind of problem or some kind of solution to a problem. And it's always kind of fascinated me. This show these days is sort of nostalgic as well. It's based on a song the title's based on a song by Jackson Browne. The song was written for Nico, who worked with the Velvet Underground, and it's a song that I personally really like. One thing that was interesting to me about bringing together the works in this show was that it's not like I worked with the artist and said, show me the work and not that work and this work. I really just said, send me work. And I was really interested in what they were interested in. And for that reason, there's a wide variety of work. There's beautiful figurative works by Elena Ortega Tolsana. There's these really kind of lyrical, beautiful works by Elise McCleary, which you can see in the background there, which are interestingly, in a way, kind of figurative. The artist talked about walking along the street in Melbourne and seeing a sporting goods store in the afternoon light and being sort of taken by the light and the kind of atmosphere. And it's an attempt to sort of capture not literally what that scene looked like, but what the essential nature of that scene was, what the kind of ambience was. So there's artists in this show that I've worked with for over a decade, people like Catherine Clayton-Smith, who's got some incredible, beautiful small paintings in the show. And there's people that I've never worked with before. What I was also really interested in bringing this show together was sort of looking at existing relationships between artists. What was fascinating to me is some of these artists had shown alongside each other, but also interestingly, some of these artists had collected each other's work, which I always find a really interesting thing when artists are acquiring works from other artists. And so, although there's not a great sort of homogeneity to the show, like not all the works look the same, and in some ways they look very different, there's a sort of a central kind of grouping or a sort of sense of community and kind of, I guess, like a snapshot from my perspective of what's happening in painting in the eastern states here in Australia.